day of our London camp. Today we start with a lecture by Grandmaster Boris Gelfand, and he will share with you his experience in the London system. So, of course, Boris Gelfand doesn't need an introduction. You are quite familiar with his career and games, and I wish you to have a nice time with his lesson. Enjoy. So, Boris, you can already start your introduction.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Today I will show you my. I rarely played the London with white, but with black I have quite a few interesting games. So I'll share with you my experience, and will make emphasis on strategical ideas. And I will start with a game I play with Tamir Nabaty, and one of the best Israeli players in 2019. D4, knight f6, knight f3. Normally I play d5 against it, and but he for some reason decided to start e6, and Tamir played bishop f4 anyway. Yeah, I mean London, c5 and e3. And here, actually, I decided to follow the idea in the game of Petr Leko, a great Hungarian player, and also who is always famous by, playing really, being knowledgeable and very precise in the opening. So I employed one of the plans. Petr started playing b6, keeping the pawn on d7. To start with, let me show one of the games Petr played earlier, when it transposed more or less to the same idea. He started with b6. Okay, maybe this move is less flexible than cd b6. Cd b6, it's maybe this is more flexible, but also it's more choice for white. It leaves more choice for white. CD immediately secures the structure black wants to play. And now he played with Vladimir Kramnik. And only now he took, and he got this kind of position he wants. And now he played bishop a6. It may seem strange that he wasted tempo, but the point is clear. Now, as white didn't play c3, it's very difficult for white to avoid exchange of bishops. And Petr believes that, as I understand, that after exchange of bishops, he'll have solid pawn structure. White will not have possibility of any attack on the king side. And whenever white will play c4, even now, I think black can play d5 already. And with knight on d2, it's not that dangerous for black. Vladimir Kramnik played knight c4, queen c8, Petr played. Again, pushing, knight e3, took, and played knight c6. c3. And now d5 is already kind of a threat. So Petr played d5 and got this pawn structure, which is typical for London, but he got it without the light square bishop, which is really very important. Because one of the drawbacks of black setup in most of London positions that a light bishop on d3 is strong and can play on both sides, and bishop on b7 it's often on c8. It's blocked by pawn structure e6, d5, or even if it's g6, which will be covered next week. Okay, there also it's not so easy to find a place for bishop. So here he managed to exchange, and he basically prepares, and he got kind of a Carlsbad structure with reversed color. And as attack is not really dangerous, he slowly will prepare a minority attack with b5. Let's see, rook e1, queen b7, knight e5, rook c8. Simply improving position of his pieces. Vladimir Kramnik played here, and now simply knight e4. very nice maneuver to weaken white's position. It may seem that black lost two tempties, but in fact, you know, with a pawn on f3, it's very difficult to build an attack. Yeah, queen will never go to g3, and also whenever white will try to play f4, if ever, knight would get to e4. They had a long game, but he drew this game convincingly. But let's return to our game. After e3, Peter took, I took, and b6. And I saw a game of Peter, so I had a good example 1.5 years ago. Another game, let me show another game of Peter, where he showed his idea of if white will decide to play c4, he played bishop e7, first castles, then plays bishop b7 and d5, always d5. And now I think it's quite a comfortable isolated pawn for black. Let's say rook c1. Black has nothing to worry about, really, because white's pieces are not set in the most aggressive way, simply very comfortable. Another game, I think bishop e3 was possible, but I intended to do the same. But Tamir decided to be sharp, bishop b5. The point of this move is clear. Okay, we'll say a bit later, I play bishop e7. His idea that, let's say if here I will try to play bishop a6, he will block me with a4, and if I take, he takes, and pawn is very strong on b5, cutting the knight on b8. And basically, if I'll play here a6, then he'll get back to d3, and he will prevent me from playing bishop a6. Another interesting game I can show you in this line was played between Grishuk and Leko, Peter Leko, h3. Grishuk played, also useful move, castle. And now again he is waiting for bishop a6, a4. But now Peter switched his concept. He played bishop b7, rook e1, and d6. a4. Again, Grishuk is waiting for a6 to weaken pawn structure, to create potential target on b6. But Peter played a very good maneuver, which I also execute in the game. Knight a6, knight a3, knight c7, bishop f1, a6. And we got kind of hedgehog, but with a knight which is set on c7, but not on d7. One may think that knight is very strangely placed on c7, but in fact it's not the case, and we'll see both in this game and in my game. And because of two purposes. First of all, like in the game where Grishuk played c4, he wanted to, to get center, and if black would play, let's say, d5 now, that's why he started with rook c1, to be ready to get c5 and get majority on this side and block the bishop. But here Peter found very deep idea, a5. There's an idea to bring knight to b4. After white played both a4 and c4, b4 square became weak, so he simply transfers knight to this square. Queen b3, knight a6, knight b4. And basically black has no problem whatsoever. d5 maybe is a threat already, because c5 it's not possible. So basically I think the repeated moves and agreed and draw. Let's return to my game. Tamir played castle, I castled, he played a4, and now it's very similar position. I decided to start with knight a6. I could start with bishop b7 as well, but knight a6, knight a3, and knight c7. Bishop d3, and now I played a6. Again, to be sure that knight will never come to b5, And whenever he'll go to c4, I have knight d5. He played h3, and only now I played d6. Again, this is the advantages of having knight on c7. It's very flexible and can go to d5 somewhere. And whenever white will play c4, we can either play d5 if c5 is not possible, or simply play a5 and move it to a4, or do it b4. So Tamir played rook c1, also very similar to what Stupak did, but knight on a3 has some ideas. We'll see later. I play rook e8, also useful move. And he plays c3. Again, if he'll play c4, I will play a5. And now it was my time to think, because I think black has solid position, but still has to find a way how to move forward. Of course, the most natural move will be bishop f8. But what disturbed me is that now he can use this disadvantage of knight. And this knight on d7, it's always good. But here he has bishop g5, h6, bishop h4. Kind of unpleasant pin. Of course, I can always get back with the bishop to e7, but I felt it's a bit strange. Maybe it was a reasonable idea, yeah? And so I started with h6. The only drawback with h6, let's say if he'll play bishop a2, I play bishop f8. And okay, we keep on playing in a spirit of position. Another advantage of knight on c7 is that black has a somewhat clear plan. Let's say play queen d7 and then b5. And then, okay, with a pawn on b5, maybe then bishop c6, and then get knight to d5. It will be an ideal setup. We'll see it in future, in the process of the game. But I had already this idea in mind. Also, queen d7, bishop c6 is possible to kind of hint on vulnerability of a4 pawn. But my opponent is a very aggressive attacking player, so he started with bishop b1. His idea, I understood, will be to, okay, I thought I allowed me to play b5 without preparation. I didn't, but now his idea became clear. Knight h2. He wants basically to play knight, maybe queen d3, then knight g4, maybe queen g3, and try to build an attack on the on my king. Of course, it's attack. I don't have real weaknesses, and his knight is on a3. So it's a big drawback. With such a knight, it's very difficult to build up an attack. But still, both bishops are looking toward my king. Queen will do so. Knight joins. So I had to be careful. I played queen d7. Knight d5 was also possible. Bishop d2, but I was afraid, your next move is knight g4. Maybe he can sacrifice on h6 somewhere. Not very likely, but who knows. But I played queen d7 with a clear idea, kind of to play very, how to say, energetically. I took, and he played queen d3. And I played my idea, it was queen c6. Again, knight is protecting b5. Just to use, whenever, in general, not on the London system, whenever your opponent does something, it has strong side and weak side. So he played knight h2, he wanted to attack, but g2 pawn is weak. So kind of unpleasant intermediate move. And if queen g3, I have knight h5. So he played f3, and that's what he planned. He thought that his next move will be knight g4, and he will build up an attack. Also, maybe knight c2, knight b4, he'll be in time. And here, maybe you think few minutes and write me in the chat, what will you do with black? Because it's really interesting position. It's possible, but I was not, I was definitely considering it. John Jacobs and Dimitros Gokas are suggesting. Yeah, please write not in Q&A, but in the chat. Yeah, Dimitrios, Gokas, yeah. That's what I played. Just let's give 1-2 more minutes to everyone, so we'll. Yes, Jim. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, we'll discuss it, Jim. It's possible, but okay, 1 more minute, and then we'll return to discuss. Daniel, it's too early, but it's a good idea. In general, it's good you spotted it. Michael, sharp, yeah. Is that what I played? Yes, Mikhail, you are. Is that what I played? Okay, let's think what's possible to do. Of course, the most natural move, first I thought is knight d5 to bring knight on center, but bishop d2. Now, pawn is handling. I can play bishop a6, but I was afraid he'll play b4. And somehow this bishop is kind of stuck. Of course, we kind of weakened a lot, but he will play, if necessary, c4 one day, but still knight g4 will go. And kind of now bishop is also stuck here. Of course, yeah. Bishop f8, I didn't like knight g4, yeah, I think it plays into his hand, yeah. And here, to protect like rook a5 or something, it's really unharmonical. Some way we can get c4, maybe immediately even, and get into trouble after knight g4. So I decided, and some of you found this move to prevent attack directly, mechanical way, just by taking control of g4 square, and also bishop h6 will never take place. Of course, as I said, each move has a drawback, so I gave up g5 square, but I played g6. And here, actually, it was quite a deep idea because, okay, it may backfire, yeah, because if he brings, let's say, knight to h4, it will be very hard to protect g6 square. But fortunately, it's both of his knights are very far, and everything is protected. The only drawback a bit that knight cd5 will not be possible because of rook e6, but we have other ideas. He played knight f1, and now maybe think what we'll play here with black. But it was, I thought about it when I played the h5, but here try to think again what you may do. Yes, Daniel, you're right. You're totally right. Yes, there are many possibilities here. Think a couple of minutes. The point is white position from one point of view. Okay, it's a bit weird because pawn on h3, f3 kind of weakening. A knight on a3 is strange, but also there are no real weaknesses in the white's camp because, okay, they're doing everything, it seems very solid. Okay, think for 1 more minute. Because here I already started playing for, maybe for more than simple equality. It's very hard to judge if it's right or not, but it seems that I was right. Yeah, Tratmar, you're right. So there are a few possibilities. Let's say one of the possibilities you suggest, knight d5, but I was afraid something like simple like queen d2. Because if now I'll exchange, queen will get to a good square. Next move he plays knight g3, knight e4, brings knight to close to center, maybe somewhere even knight c2 would bring knight somewhere to e3 after exchange. He is doing well. And knight, okay, also my kings gets a bit isolated. If I play bishop a6 here, he will play anyway queen d2, then maybe knight c2, knight b4, or maybe, and okay, he has harmony. So I decided, it's time, to, I felt some kind of disharmony in his pieces, and also I found another way to activate c7 knight, which is kind of holding all together, but still can have more potential. I played e5. It's difficult to make such a move psychologically for few reasons. One of them, it's okay, we are used to learn, to maneuver in game so far, first 20 moves, and suddenly we open up a game. But now it's a good moment, first of all, because if he'll take, I think I can play bishop c5 and win an exchange. So he cannot take, and if he'll play queen d2, let's say, I already will have bishop knight e6, attack the bishop, and let's say if he'll go here, I may already go with knight f4, try, to create some threats. Suddenly my pieces become very active. Of course, the key move I was afraid of, because again, each move you make has some drawbacks. I kind of weakened this diagonal, and immediately Tamir played bishop a2 with an idea, queen g6 is a threat, what to do? I planned here, if I play knight d5, solid move, he will, I think, take, and play knight e3, queen d2. He has very solid center, he gave a bishop, but g2, f3 pawn is very good against b7 bishop. And the next move will be knight a, c2, knight b4, and he has pleasant game. So I decided to sharpen game further. But it required big calculation, because any mistake may lead to some material losses. But fortunately, tactic works for black's favor. Let's say d5, which will be intermediate move, doesn't work because we also have intermediate check. Bishop s3, knight c5. And we kind of kept material, and white's position are really ruined. b4 is never a threat because knight is hanging, and pawn structure is damaged, and piece coordination is poor. Black are doing fine. So Tamir took, and I took. Now let's see what happened. I played e5, e4. From one point of view, his bishop created some pressure on our king, but also along big diagonal we create much more pressure. Let's say for the moment we don't threaten to go with a knight anyway, but okay, we'll play, let's say, maybe king g7, and then knight f2 will be a threat or something, and knight on e4 suddenly is in the center and dominating the board, because white's knights are poor. So he tries to exchange it, and now d5. It may be difficult, to make this move, because it may seem that we are blocking our bishop on b7. But in fact, the situation is a bit different, because we create a very big stronghold on e4. The next move will be queen d6 maybe, or rook e8, and we simply build up, we kind of killed all white's attack, and now we are bringing pieces into attack. He took, I took, he played queen g3, and now simply king g7, to be sure that, okay, never this spin will work. Now suddenly black is better. Rook c2 he played. I played queen d7. Just to restore harmony, yes, it's maybe knight d5 is a threat. So bishop b1 he played. And now it was possible already to start a very strong attack by, no, that's what I played, by f5. And then rook f8, f4, and with all these pawns, it's really strong attack. But I took my time to improve the bishop knight on c7. It served me well on c7, you know, protected, and then was threatened to go to e6. Now I sent him to another route, knight e8, rook f2, and knight d6. And we see that king is safe, but on the contrary, black is starting attack. Knight f5, queen g5, f6, queen d2, queen d6. Simply improving position, knight e3. And now I decided to exchange. It was possible to go with a knight on g3, but we had little time, and I like this idea because my pawns are strong, his bishop again is poor, we control a line, so I didn't see how he will prevent me from improving my position, and because whenever he'll exchange queens on f4, he'll be lost, because with such a pawn chain, he'll never be able to prevent it from advancing. Even if he'll blockade, we'll play b4 and create new weaknesses and open another front. I mean, it will take all his pieces to do it, and we'll be able to create another weakness. Rook e4, rook f7. Slowly improving position. Now, of course, he had to play something like, I don't know, h4, something. But I will play bishop d5, then maybe prepare b4, play bishop c4. Again, he cannot protect everything. So he decided to sharpen things up. g4, I took, he took. And now again, you know, he was thinking of counterplay, but each move has its own drawback. And now I was first one to capture the line, because otherwise he may play, I don't know, maybe rook h2, queen h3. So now his king is more vulnerable than mine. Bishop a2 back, he used the chance, rook f6. If g5, I would go back to f8, and then, okay, double on h line and mate him. And whenever he'll play, let's say, queen f4, I have e3, and then mate on h1. So he played d5 to block a line, and now black has huge advantage, but unfortunately I misplayed and didn't win. I played queen e5, solid move, and he played d6. Good practical decision to sharpen things up. Because, okay, I cannot take with a queen because he takes on f5. So I took with a rook. Actually, it was a beautiful tactical win. Fg, d7, I discarded. I thought it's becoming very unclear, but queen h5 wins on the spot. Just making him. But I took on d6. I was confident I'm winning, because he cannot take on f5. If he'll take on f5, I think I have rook d3. Yeah, rook d3. And I win. But he found a very nice defense, rook g2. I played rook d3, and he played queen a7. I played rook d7, and he played again. I thought I win, but queen e3. Black are much better, but still necessary to win. Either I had to repeat, and after, I mean here, and here play queen c7, but it's, okay, it's not easy to be sure that it's winning, even though it is, yeah? It does, yeah? But very difficult to be sure. Rook g6, queen a3, but there are checks come to an end, I think, yeah. Here, queen a3 and king e8, rook e6 and king d8, and mate next move. But somehow, you know, it was already fifth hour of the game, I didn't find it. So I played rook d7, queen e3, and here, of course, it was necessary to take on g4, and we are 2 pawns up, and big advantage. Even though not winning, because rook d3 is not a threat because of rook f7. So he always has some counter chance. But I decided I'm winning by beautiful combination, f4, rook takes f4, and rook h3. But in fact, I don't, because he plays rook g3. And if I will check, he will go here, and rook g2. And rook d2, he doesn't take on d2 because on e3, and I win. Queen e3, rook g2, but simply he goes back. And I have to give check again. I was disappointed to find it. And so I took, and I thought I'm winning. Because if he'll defend with a queen, I have, I think rook d1, rook h1 may be winning, no? Wait. I saw some nice win here. Yeah, rook d1, king h2. Maybe simply take and e3 and pawn, I queen a pawn. Rook f2 here. But he, to my disappointment, came back. And when I played queen d6, I thought I am winning. There is no defense against queen d1 and rook d2. He found a move back king g1. And if queen d1, rook f1. I played here, rook f2 already, queen c7. And game, okay, suddenly it's just equal, and game finished in a draw in a couple of moves. Actually, I had to be careful not to allow it, but I played really careful in bishop g4, so I will not lose this pawn. And he had already to exchange bishops, and it's a dead draw, yeah. Okay, this was first game. I showed you this plan of Petr Leko, which is very interesting. And if you play with black, it's really easy to learn, and also gives room for, for a complicated game if you like this kind of strange hedgehog. Let me show you some other games which I played in London with other system. First we start with then it's a game with Gata Kamsky. I played it in candidates match in Elista in 2007, and actually this victory was a key one in my victory candidates match in qualification to World Championship in Mexico 2007. Gata is known until now. He is very big fan from his childhood years until now. Big fan of London system. He plays it very regularly. Bishop f4, c5, e3, knight c6, the main line which is played. And now knight bd2, we'll deal with it later on. But now I want to do the sidelines, because why knight bd2 is important to play became clear after this game. He played bishop b5. And now it's a bit premature. First of all, it was possible to play directly knight e4, but I was not sure, that he will take, bc. Maybe I win a pawn, but I felt, my pieces are not developed. I was afraid he will have a good compensation. So I took. My point, if he'll take with a knight, I have bishop d7, and then I would simply develop e6, bishop e7. Just a playable game, but when we played d4, now it became clear why bishop d5 is not is a bit an accurate move, because I managed to get check. Knight c3 and bishop g4. A bit similar, there is a similar line in Rogozin from white side, where white gives check to a4 to force black to put knight to c6. Because knight on c3 kind of gets disharmony. If knight will be on d2 and pawn on c3, like in most games I play with London now, it will be a very pleasant position for white. But now, let's say he made a natural move. Oh, sorry. Sorry, yeah. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to flip, yeah. If I'll forget again, please remind me immediately. I apologize, I'm not used to do it, yeah. He castled, let's say natural move, c6, h3, chook. And now, okay, again, with knight on d2 and pawn on c3, there are many games played nowadays in London, and the white has two bishop advantage, and basically can prepare kind of initiative on the king side, or maybe sometime on queen side, and very solid center. It's considered to be slight advantage for white, with nothing wrong for black. But here it's a bit different, because knight is blocked. I started with rook c8 to avoid to deprive him a chance to take. Let's say if I play bishop e7, I was not sure if he'll take and play b3, knight a4, and then c4. Still equal position, but maybe rook c8. I liked my pawn structure. I didn't want to give him chance to destroy it, because I always want to take with a piece. Rook d1, bishop e7. He played bishop f1, and I castled. And please think what you'll do here for white, how you will continue, because I think it's a very nice and instructive moment here. Maybe I flip the board again, so you think for white, and then we'll switch back. Yeah, but it's possible, but I'm not that sure. We'll see it. Yes, exactly, it's reverse Rogozin, very similar to reverse Rogozin. It's possible, Dmitris, but I don't think. I think you rather create new. Yes, Mikhail. I like that what Gata played, and it's a good idea. Yeah, it's possible, but I think. Yes, Daniel, you're right. This is a good idea. It's not slow. Well, Tratmar, maybe it's a bit, overambitious, I believe. Yeah? Yeah, please write in chat, not in Q&A. I cannot check both. Okay, let's have a look at this position, because yes, Ron, yeah, exactly. So, of course, we may be tempted to play g4 and go for an attack and things like this. Yeah, Jean-Francois, you're right, you will see. g4 and go for attack, but I think it's not well prepared so far, because black has no weaknesses, and also in reverse Rogozin, I think black waits for knight to go to a5 to get further, and they prepare better than here. So the thinking of Gata, and it's the correct one, was what is my worst piece? Which piece I can improve? And we see that knight on c3, it's was forced there, it's not perfectly placed. So he kind of improves it. Knight e2 plays, b5, and again he can play to g3, but it's leads nowhere so far, yeah, because there are no weaknesses. So he plays c3. He may play a3, maybe was a bit more precise. Then queen b6, c3, then knight c1, get to d3, and it's solid. It's a very solid position, nothing to worry about. He plays c3, and now he wants this knight c1 and there. moves the knight, so I played b4. He played queen d3. I played queen b6. He took, I took. He played queen d3 and knight e4. And now he made more or less it was difficult move to make for him now, because now it was time already to return knight to c3. Because now, after I played b5 and this, there are more future and more stability here. And also, it doesn't block the pawn, so we'll play rook c1 next move. And we kind of attack the e4 knight. We don't allow black to, you know, to do whatever he wants. It's kind of, we can say it's also prophylactical, because knight c3 we take, the pawn is not that weak, we will always play c4. More or less balanced game. But one inaccurate move a3, and after knight c6, suddenly white in trouble, because he has to take, and now he is left knight on e2 is weak. Now if knight c3 will already take and knight a5, and c3 will be weak forever, and if rook he played b4, and I want knight a5, knight c4 to attack these pawns. And if rook c1, I will do the same. Maybe the lesser evil was to exchange rooks, you know, kind of. But still, this is very pleasant endgame for black. Oh, sorry. So before, yeah, Tratmar asked a question. The best way was knight e2 and then knight c3 to return, then to keep it. This was the best and most solid way for white to play. Because white has no advantage, but here he's not worse at all as well. But after b4, I think I executed a very good maneuver. I played g5. Maybe it's not a weakness, but not as it's an endgame. But the point is that we get the diagonal. What's more important, we get the pawn on d6 is a comfort. We move the knight here. Knight c1. Black are doing very well. I played f5, knight b3, knight c4, b5, and here I made a big mistake. Black had to play knight a5, takes with a serious advantage. I was afraid, you know, I thought that I'm better, it was not good to trade knights, but in fact, okay, it's maybe too overambitious, because here's the advantage is really pleasant. He can never hit my knight in a5, it's really good, because pawn on a3 is weak, we always want to play a4 and knight b3, really serious advantage. I played knight d8, a4, knight b7, bishop c1, and now I made another poor move, f4. And please think why this move is bad, f4, why it was better to play bishop f6 was a good move to keep on pressure, but why f4 is wrong. Think what you'll do here with white. I think it's a good positional idea. Yes, Ragnar, yes. You're totally right. Yes, Daniel, you're totally right. Yes, Jean-Francois. Yes, Jim. My idea is maybe to play knight d6, f5. That's what I wanted. Yes, Dmitros, yeah. Let's wait maybe for one more minute and we go on. We'll go on. Yes, yes. And also, yeah, f3 is not a real threat, yeah, I think, yeah, because, okay, it doesn't, it's not that. A real threat maybe is I want to play knight d6, knight f5, and finally try to win a pawn. This was my idea. Maybe bishop b4. No, f3 it's not a very good way to play because we create further weaknesses and we block. there is, even if you're afraid that f3 as a threat, then it's, you know, as I said already a few times today, actually, it's again, yeah, whatever you do, you know, you have good point, but bad point. Also, we weaken g4 square, we played f4, we weakened bishop e2 Gata played. I played bishop b4, and now he was a bit inert. He had to go on, yeah, and try already with such a strong bishop, play bishop d2 and try to exchange pieces and get counter play. Because he played rook a2, and after knight d6 already maybe too late, because bishop g4 will protect, and knight e4, rook on a2 is really poorly placed. So this position probably lost already. Bishop d3, and now I played rook a8. Kind of attacked b5 pawn on top. He kind of collapsed here. Because, yes, that's what happened in the game. Maybe, because if he'll play bishop b1, I still double, and maybe no defense, yeah? Because bishop b4 takes e1 square, white's pieces are suddenly very poorly placed. And he gave up a pawn, but this position is totally lost, like with 2 pawns up. I won very convincingly. It was still tried to put resistance, but basically he lost. Again, so this is bishop b5, which is one of the sidelines, but not a good one. Next game, we'll see. Okay, this Kirill Stupak from World Cup. A bit like one introduction I would make to this game, that it was knockout event and I won first game, so I was not, you know, with the draw I was happy. I was not looking because of the tournament situation, but I played it like it's normal games. And he played c5, and he played e3, knight c6, and he played c3. And actually, sometimes white starts with c3 or with e3, but it's not a very precise move order. Queen b6. Yeah, thank you, John. Queen b3. He may play queen c2, but then, okay, there is no logic for white's game. I can also maybe for queen c1, but then it's a sign something went wrong, I think, if you have to play already that passage. So queen b3, and white's idea is to get, you know, now the threat is queen b6 and bishop c7 to win a pawn, or at least to force knight d7. And I blundered it in one of the blitz games with Grishuk. And it was unpleasant position. So c4. Now to take it's not good, because there is no defense against b5 and b4. White are not in time. Knight d2, b4. So queen c2, and now yes, bishop f5, because it's not possible to take now because of queen b2. So he's forced back, but at least he, you know, provoked c4, but it's no big deal. Yeah, I think it's good for black. Black secured a very good pawn structure by c4, h6. I played just to be sure that, because one of the white's ideas is opening knight h4 and to exchange bishop. I wanted to be sure I played it immediately, h3, e6. He also maybe h3, maybe it's not a necessary move, but probably he was afraid I will play knight h5 somewhere. Yeah. And now the point is that b3 is never a threat. First of all, there is a tactical idea, queen a5, and if bc, bishop a3, and then all the structure collapses. And if a4, then already I take, because he cannot recapture with a pawn, and I go back. And good position, because after he played a4, he cannot play, difficult for him to play c4, because of weakening of b4 square. And it's very comfortable position, because c3, that means that c3 will be a weakness forever. Okay, if c4 he can play, but it will be good for black. Another point that I can simply take and castle, and now if he'll play c4, always knight b4, and knight on b2, it's kind of cut always. And to play b4, knight b3, knight c5, he'll never be in time. I play rook fc8, a5, I always create counterplay. So he played bishop e2. I played queen d8, maybe it's not necessary. Maybe the most clever way to play for black here is to play rook fc8, and then play queen d8, and then prepare b5, a5. So the rook will be on c line and will be part of the game. But I played queen d8, also solid move. He played knight e5. I thought one of the positional ideas of white, which I considered, I want to show you, is castle, castle, and bishop d1. But it's nothing dramatic. Bishop c2, I can take or I can wait, because it's not a threat to take on f5. I take ef5, and my bishop on e7 is better than bishop on f4. It means that it's nothing to worry for black. But knight e5 he played, I took simply, he took, I took too. Castle, castle, I played b5. He played rook e1. I don't know, maybe I had to play a5 here simply ignore everything and go for my plan before. But I decided to play knight e4, maybe because I want to simplify a bit again. Bishop f3, knight g5, bishop d1, and I played bishop d6. My idea is to simplify again, because actually bishop e5 not so strong, but then okay, I like to have d6 square for a queen, because I can prepare b4. Queen is very well placed here. Bishop c2, he has to play. I took 2. And that, now it's clear why I played it, because I want to play f5 and get full control that e4 will never be played, because whenever he'll try to prepare this with f3, okay, g3 will become weak on knight h3, but also even if he'll play e4 and he'll open f line against his king. He played b3. I play rook f8 now already. bc, and now it's clear that the game would go along b line. And here I started playing really poorly. The simplest was to play. I played here. Probably I had simply to play rook b8, because he can never take pawn on a7 because of rook a. And if rook b1, simply a6. To protect everything here, only black can be slightly better here. I played knight e4, which is also a decent move to exchange knights. Rook b1, but here I made a strange move. I don't understand why I didn't make this move. Already rook a b8, he may take. So, but rook c8 I may play. I have a clear idea to exchange rooks, rook b1 and rook b8. And if he takes, I can take with a queen. Okay, I was not sure to create this harmony, but queen c8, I have queen c6, queen c8. Next move is, if he goes, I play rook b8. If we exchange rooks, I play rook c6, rook a6. And even without b line, I can never be worse. I played rook c7. I decided suddenly to become aggressive and to go for counterattack, which is also a possible way. King h7, queen d4, queen d8. But here he could play rook b8. I think it was the best for him. I think we have to exchange everything and to play this king endgame, rook endgame. Most likely it's a draw, because it's hard to imagine white will be able to win, because there are no real weaknesses. We have this idea rook c7, rook c6 to activate. But he played a4, and now please think it's real blunder. What you'll play with black here? Yes, it's a first intention, but think there is a hidden point in it. Yes, Steve, but it's too long. There's 3 moves. White will do something. Yes, you're right. But there are some funny tricks here. This position turns out to be pretty interesting and deep. Let's think for one more minute. Yes, Mikhail. Fantastic, fantastic. I'm happy you found it. Okay. So let's see. Okay, black has went for an attack, but white controls the line. Of course, the critical move, which first we look, is queen h4. It seems that we are winning. We attack f2 pawn, and how white may defend. But there's a hidden defense, rook b8. Indirect defense. And if you take on f2, he takes on with rook on f8. Yeah, rook f2 allows rook f8. And we lose a rook. And if we play a5 now, then he takes on f8 and he's left with two rooks for queen and probably winning. But there is an initial position, there is an intermediate move I play, a5. I want to play queen h4, but first I want to distract one of the pieces from b line. If he'll play queen a5, I play queen h4, and there is no protect, he cannot protect f. Let's say if he'll take here, I play here, and he plays rook b8 here, I think we take and win. The only defense he found is rook a5, queen h4, queen d6, but rook f2 anyway, took. I took, and played rook f6, queen g3 is an only move, and rook 8. And somewhere here he offered me a draw because it was, I think, okay, kind of resigned the bottle for a match, yeah? Rook g6, no, somewhere here. Because here the point is that rook h8 is an only move. And now it seems that, sorry, okay, yeah. The endgame looks lost, but probably h4 saves the game somehow. Because if I play queen c3, he plays h5 and makes perpetual. But still, black had many possibilities. Let's say here it was possible simply to take. Position simply better. a5 was a winning move. Okay, let's move to the to another game. My game with Wang Hao, Chinese player from World Rapid Championship. And we played the main system of London. I played knight 6 and he played knight bb2. And now actually, I'm sure during the course of this camp, this position occurred more than once. I just want to show you some, I took on d4, some brief introduction to this. The point is how black can develop pieces. Bishop f5 will be natural to play 6, but dc probably not so easy to get the pawn back. Bishop g4 is possible, it's a logical move. And it was a very nice, interesting game last month in Tata Steel at Vaikanze. Between Anish Giri won a nice game against Radek Wojtaszek, c3, e6. Seems that I think black has good position. Queen c8, queen c8, okay. From defending side, it's different than from white, yeah? h3, bishop h5, bishop e2, castle, castle. Oh, sorry, and he returned with queen to d1, because queen has nothing to do on d3. And somehow he managed to outplay black, but it seems that it's very playable position for both sides. Another idea for white, which really interesting, was played in last Vaikanze 2020 by Daniel Dubov, really creative player with a lot of opening ideas, we all know. He sacrificed a pawn to Alireza Firouzja, and pretty quickly I think he kind of equalized, I think. But of course, pawn is a pawn. One needs to know what he is doing. The point is this intermediate move. And probably analyze. I played simpler, took and bishop f5. And now actually it's a bit, for many years it was considered like the main line, and it was considered like a good way for white to play, for black to play. But recently white started to play bishop d5 and posing some concrete problems. Let's say now in Vaikanzea, the same Alireza played against a Spanish player David Anton, and played a really creative game. Okay, nothing wrong for black, but just a new position. But Van Gaal played c3, I played d6, and now this is the key of the position, because for many years queen b3 was played, and now if we play queen c8, let's say, the problem is he plays knight h4, he kind of gets this bishop, and with two bishops, it's a complicated game, but also potential for black, but also for white. And one day I prepared a very brilliant novelty, and I was waiting for it to play, but no one played London against me. And suddenly I played the tournament, and Alexei Shirov in front of me played the same novelty. Bishop d6. The point of a novelty that if takes, I think we can castle, if I remember, or rook b8 first. I think rook b8 and we can take I think rook b8 and castle, and we have very strong pressure along the line. And if queen b7, which is the main move, he took, we played king f8, and big compensation because the bishops are very strong. We'll play next move g6, king g7, and along the b line will put a lot of pressure. And in this game I want to repeat, but Van Gaal played knight h4, I played bishop g4, queen b3, and now I had this possibility to play bishop d6, which is a kind of even better circumstance, because now queen b7, bishop f4, on top knight is poorly placed on h4. So Van Gaal took. And here, okay, of course, castle it's normal, but I decided, to play originally. I castle long. I don't know if it's objectively that strong or not, but it's possible move. It's nothing wrong with it. My reason was that my king will be safe on b8, while after he'll castle short, I'll have potential to play maybe g5, g4 somewhere, after he played h3. I noticed this small weakness. He played bishop b5, I played here, he played knight f3, now I took and played knight e4. This knight on f4 cannot castle long, or he castled short, and I played g5. And he played rook e1, I played rook g8. He played c4, also opening, and I played f6, a very good move to control e6 square. I think it's a very good pawn formation to go against f3 knight, and now I threaten already g4. He took rook c1, and now I play g4. Very sharp, getting game sharp. First question, what I had in mind, if he'll take, I'll take, and he'll take on d5. What was my intention? Let's think. Yes, Tratman, wonderful. Yes, Daniel. No, still, it's a deeper idea. Yes, Tratman, yeah, you're right. No, Vinko. No, Francois, no. There is a better idea. Yes, Bhati. Yes, Olga. Yes, Steve, yeah. Okay, let's check. There is a very strong intermediate move. rook d g8. It's a really quick sacrifice. If he'll take, I take, and if he goes here, I make him like this, and if he'll go here, I make him like this. The best defense is maybe g3, but then again another strong move, queen d6 with idea rook g3, and queen takes g3. Maybe he can protect by rook c2, but I simply take on d5, equal material, and nothing can prevent me from sacrificing on g3. Next move. So one house saw it, and he took and c here. Please think what you'll do here. This I missed, this combination kind of missed. Yes, that's what everyone suggests what I played in the game, but there is a stronger move. Yeah, John, maybe you saw it, but I didn't show it. Maybe someone else showed it. I'm glad it put it paid attention to this game. I'm glad. Yes, Luis. Luis, you're right. Yes, Vinko. Yes, Steve. Yeah, I think. Yeah, yes, Hamster. Yeah, let's give 1 minute more to everyone and we'll go on. We'll see how the game finished. Yes, Ron. Yes, Michael. Well done. Well done. Yeah, here I played a very tempting move gf3. The point, of course, if he'll take, we take, go and knight g3 mate, next move. But he has a defense, unfortunately, queen takes f3. In case I take on d5, he takes on e4. I played knight g5, but he took, I took, and he played king h1. And now if I'll take on e1, he will check, take on d8, take on e1, and get a rook ending with a pawn up. So I took on d4, he took, I played e5. And this is basically drawn rook endgame, which, okay, with equal pawns, we made some more moves, but it's totally drawn, yeah? But the solution was even more beautiful. Gh3 to prevent queen f3. So if he'll take here now, I will take rook f1, rook f2, and rook g2, and the same mate. But we prevented queen f3. The only defense after gh will be g3. And but now we simply take a pawn. And basically this position is not one. We have an extra pawn, but we are much, much better. We can maybe continue an attack with f5, f4. Yeah, if here knight h4, I think we can take on d5. I think we still stay with a pawn up, queen h3, queen d4. Here we cannot play queen d6, I think, because he has rook e4, and if rook g3, I think he will not take. I think he will go, let's say, here, and he is left with an extra piece. So the same idea, queen d6 doesn't work, because we don't have two rooks on g line. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you about London. I shared all my experience, and I hope it was nice and useful. And now I'm happy to take any questions you have about London, about any other chess-related questions. Please go ahead with your questions. Let me just check, because over here, no. Ah, yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, thank you. With white, Ron asked what my opinion is white. With white, I had very limited experience. I played it. I don't think I ever played it with white in classic. I played some rapid and blitz, and it's for blitz and rapid. It's a good opening because you know what you are doing. But I normally played it with black. I don't know why. Because when I wanted to pick it up, I think the reason because it became too popular, and I decided that I'll not do it. Do you know about a book on Zugzwang exercises? I don't know. I think all books about studies are good about Zugzwang, but in a tournament game, I think Johanan Afek in his study book has a chapter also from tournament practice, but not real book. Chessable Kolovich course recommends for blacks aligned queen b3, queen c8, allow knight h4, believe has a choice. Yes, I looked at it, but okay, I think it's playable for black, as I said, but also I think very playable for white. I think there were some games. I think Sugirov is black lost to Kramnik, I think. So it was not that clear. I clearly prefer bishop d6 as a clear-cut solution. Yes, Steve, the book is in English. d4, d5, bishop f4, bishop f5. I really don't know. It's a separate theory. I never played for any color. But I know some games going on, yeah. Really. But what's good with London, it's still even so, the last few years it became popular since Vladimir Kramnik and Magnus added it to the repertoire, but still room to be creative for the first moves. Thank you. Thank you. Some more questions, please go ahead. Yes, thank you for your kind words. It was my pleasure, and I hope I managed to both explain my vision about London, but also some other positional and tactical ideas when I challenged you and when I tried to share my experience. Okay, thank you everyone. I see there are no questions, so maybe we end the lecture, and good luck with the camp. Enjoy my colleagues. I'm sure it will be very productive and you'll go ahead with London.
Thank you very much, Boris, for your wonderful lecture. All the games were really very interesting. We enjoyed a lot, and once again, thank you for sharing your experience.
Yeah, my pleasure, and good luck, and with the camp, and see you again. Yeah.
Yeah, see you in the next camps.
Yes, thank you. It's always happy, and I see that, okay, so big interest, and so, I'm happy that my experience is well received.
Thank you, and maybe as a final word, you can recommend our participants maybe a role model to follow in London for example, if they play for white, maybe Gata Kamsky, as you mentioned.
Gata, it is. Gata has a big experience, but still, I think Gata plays his own life and his own way. His games are great, but also Vladimir Kramnik and Magnus Carlsen. I think they reinvented London at top level, and I believe their games remain classical ones.
I see. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All the best and have a nice evening.
Have a nice evening. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.